Several major theater chains decided to drop the interview from its movie lineup. The theaters are citing terrorist threats for their decision. And now we have more news on that. Arise News correspondent Akhtar Khan explains. Akhtar?
Well, thanks very much, New Debbie. Well, of course, first came the embarrassing emails, the leaks and xenophobic comments about actors and even about President Obama. And now Sony is put in yet another difficult position.
It was supposed to be a comedy, but its producers at Sony Pictures are doing anything but laughing. Sony Pictures has now cancelled the nationwide release of The Interview in response to the threats by hackers who call themselves the Guardians of Peace. Hackers said they would carry out attacks in the style of 9/11 unless Sony pulled the movie from general release. Police had said there was no evidence to suggest a threat of possible attacks at the movies.
People should not be afraid to go to the movies in Los Angeles. We have no credible threat. And I personally believe that most of this is done to put terror through messaging into the people of America, and if we react to that, then to use a phrase that gets overused, the terrorists win.
But there was a mixed response to the threat from moviegoers.
I'm shocked. I don't know what to say. That's scary. That's freaking.
And no, I'm not scared. Why would I be scared? I think it's all propaganda, though. Could be.
Cinema chains led the way by cancelling the screening of the movie, like Bowtie Cinemas and Carmike Cinemas, who operate 223 theatres across the country. Here in New York, Sony had already cancelled its premiere of The Interview.
Obviously, we're aware of the threat information. We're evaluating it at this point. And we've also been down this road before with other films. Some of the bin Laden films, other controversial films where there have been threats.
The threats have been real for Sony, causing more long-term damage. The studio is now being sued by 2 former employees for failing to protect sensitive data, such as salaries and medical records.
Well, breaking news now, Debbie, because we've just learnt that the FBI and the Department of Justice are to announce that North Korea were, in fact, behind the hacking. North Korea have called the movie an act of war, but insist to deny any involvement.
Well, now that this has been confirmed by the FBI, I wonder what it is that the United States can do about it. There are no normal relations with North Korea, and they do tend to be a little, at least with their threats, trigger happy. So what can we do?
We can appeal to the Chinese. The Chinese have excellent relationships with North Korea. We can appeal to the Chinese to ask them to intervene on our behalf. What this effectively means is that anyone can just come along and make these idle threats. Now, if the Department of Justice and the FBI do announce that, in fact, as we've said, that North Korea were in fact behind this, it's a damning indictment for North Korea. Well, they don't simply care because, as you said before, they don't have great relations with the US anyway. But it's serious if they go on to talk about the attacks along the lines of 9/11.
Yeah, yes, indeed, and that was a threat that, of course, got a lot of people's attention there. Does the fact that we now know it was North Korea behind this hacking give that threat more or less credence?
It probably gives it a little bit more credence than before. North Korea, obviously a state, as opposed to terrorists who aren't backed by a state. North Korea have nuclear weapons. They've tested nuclear weapons. So I'll just leave it there.
Okay. So what more can you tell us about the internet service providers and their cooperation with the FBI to find out this connection?
Well, previously, internet service providers did not have to cooperate with the FBI if it was not life-threatening. And because they crossed over the line and they started threatening the Guardians of Peace, as they call themselves, it's a hacking group, because they crossed the line and started threatening people, moviegoers, blowing up theatres on the lines of 9/11, they then crossed that threshold. It then allowed the internet service providers then to cooperate with the FBI, and that's exactly what they've now been doing.
Or encourage them, whatever word
Okay.
you want to use in that regard. Akhtar Khan, thank you so much.
Thank you,
appreciate it.